Alright, so we approach the Apogee space station. Although it's gonna be a bit before we can actually get inside.
This must be the transport to the station, but how do we get the launch code?
We ought to warn you that the
Aye.
owner of that there station ain't accustomed to visitors.
And why should we trust you? You ejected us into space!
Apologies, my friend. Tell you what,
Technically, he
allow
ejected
us
you
to
into
make it
the
up to
planet,
you.
so
Some
technically
space
not
pirates
space.
from Ardolis have offered us bolts for Leviathan souls. Why, if you were to go and fetch some for us, we would happily give you the launch code.
Max has a death wish.
Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Okay, to just Arno's credit, getting a better listen, I don't think he's going for an Australian accent so much as he's going for a bit of a southwestern American accent. He just happens to be dressed a bit like how you might expect an Australian to be dressed
So, or
like.
instead like Louisiana type, I guess.
Yeah. Somewhere between that and Texas.
Okay.
Because you know, Texas tends to be the accent a lot of foreigners like to go for when they're voicing Americans.
Yeehaw.
Specifically when you're going for the stereotypical takes.
Anyway, for the time being, we're actually outside of the Apogee space station, meaning that, as the smuggler said, we need to find the Leviathan souls to actually get inside. So, quick physics lesson for the kids in the audience. Who here can tell me what an apogee is? And don't look up on Wikipedia. I will know.
Yeah.
An apogee.
Apogee, without the L-wib, so it's not an apple.
Yeah, because I was going to say, was it a concept for the iPhone or something?
Well, okay, give it a bit more time, and you know the Apple Corporation might think to try to trademark that, but no.
Can you imagine?
In physics, it's basically the maximum point of height of a trajectory that something actually reaches. Now, you can make an argument that they just name it like that, but there was a company in the 90s, which is still taking active to this day, called Apogee, which specialized in shooters. So I do wonder if Insomniac wanted to be cheeky. They were the ones who created Duke Nukem, believe it or not. Back in the day. Well, in the initial games were side-scrollers. It was only later with the new Duke Nukem 3D that they used the build engine to make an FPS that was kind of like Doom.
You know, regarding physics, apogee can also be used for basically an orbital sense, in which case it's like the center point of something focusing on the center of that revolution and the farthest distance from it.
Which will make sense because this station is actually in the middle of an asteroid field, so...
So hey, some physics lessons and some nice space puns. Well done.
Nobody's seen him in ages.
Speaking of which, do we know much about the man behind the writing, TJ Fixman? Okay, I know how you've talked a lot about Ted Price and now. Well, he's a good man who's definitely someone who seems a little too sure of himself at times. What's TJ Fixman like? I'm curious.
Not that I really know. The only thing, again, that we know is the fact that he did not particularly had anything major credited for his work before doing this. Then he stuck around until the reimagining, and then he wrote for a Netflix exclusive movie called, I think, Carry On or something, that I haven't seen yet. But from what I've been seeing, it's just okay. Nothing too special, but nothing too bad either.
I'm guessing being the main writer of Ratchet and Clank, well, an honor probably doesn't get you the biggest writing credits.
I'm not entirely sure about that. Any itself doesn't really mean potentially anything, especially because direct to Netflix movies tend to get involved with any kind of people, so they will not really be picky about someone.
I will be fair. Netflix stuff and can range from
Tachyon wants it bad.
terrible to
If he
mediocre
found out
to
there was a lot of
sometimes
Max left in the
amazing
universe,
gems in the
well,
rough,
that could be enough
essentially.
to make
And
old
sometimes
Percival
Netflix is the
nervous.
reason we even get sequels to things
He
that
wouldn't
would
want history
otherwise
repeating
never
itself
get
on
a
him,
sequel.
you know
So
what I mean?
I won't act like it's the worst fate to go to.
No, not
although
necessarily. But my
I want him in a
point
game of
being
blood
that
and
they
roulette
probably
against
wouldn't be
Captain
picking and
Slag.
choosing,
Almost
any
cost
kind of
me
writing
one good
team.
eye.
So
True.
again, any kind of experience that one might have had doesn't really matter. There you go. That's your concept also for transporting yourself between the asteroid. You do this.
Let's see, his LinkedIn page also mentions he's done some film, television, and comics writing as well.
Well, the comics are specifically just the comic run of Ratchet and Clank. Again, it is the one that full system that stuck around for the entire future saga. So
He was involved with Gargoyles, though. Good for him.
okay, then you knew that.
I don't know if he was involved with the better era or the worse era, but still, Gargoyles, that's pretty good. Oh, his feature work involves the Sony Animation Popeye movie. Condolences, dude.
At the very least, he knew how to pick friends by working for Genny Tartakovsky. I will give him that.
He also did Spyglass's Knight Rider.
I don't know anything about that.
And,
Movie by James Wan. Oh, I think it was meant to be like a reboot of Knight Rider.
I noticed video games and cartoons. They tend to cross over a lot in terms of writers because, remember, one of the guys of Ren and... Well, not a creator, but a staff writer on Ren and Stimpy went on to write Crash Twinsanity.
I can see it. They both have that sense where they are legit forms of media, but sometimes they're looked down upon compared to movies, so they probably would intersect a lot. Let's see. Yeah, there's Carry On, as you mentioned. The Brotherhood of Magic. The Men Who Kill. Oh, weird. Okay, has he not updated his LinkedIn page? He credits himself as having worked on the Ratchet and Clank movie. That's something I don't think he'd be proud of, given how he quit.
I get the idea he was still... Okay, I don't remember if he was still credited, in the movie itself. But at the very least, the first draft of the script was something that he did. If there is maybe the possibility that despite the director just, decided to do all the rewrites, still had to credit, him as the original source.
I'm just legit shocked that he put it on his LinkedIn page. That's something he himself would have had to have made.
I mean, yeah, my point is that, again, despite everything, if it's something that happened, I don't think he should, try to hide that.
I guess. I'm just more surprised he would put it on his resume. But then again, feature what you can, I guess. The point is that it appears our TJ Fixman is certainly a writer.
Again, I know that, the lack of experience before this might have, potentially sound worrying. But honestly, again, it's just a different tone thing that the saga wanted to have for the future games. Compared to the original trilogy, and like I said when we commented on those, the original tetralogy still also had a bunch of newbie in terms of writing team, and despite the hiccups here and there, they turned out to be relatively fine.
It's better than those writers who only pop up in one franchise and then vanish off the face of the earth. Makes me think, okay, either they're not real or they're aliens who came to our planet, decided to try out writing for one series to see what it was like, got bored and ran off.
Like Skip Woods.
Okay, yeah, can we talk about Skip Woods? After, God, what was the movie where he finally...
Agent 47.
He just never
10 years
made
and not a peep.
And And while it's technically not a writer example, well, it sort of is. Shane Black worked on the Predator movie, then he never worked on a project again after that. I mean, both of these guys had careers, but then they had something that was so bad, but technically was financially successful enough, but I guess was bad enough that they never got work anywhere else.
Well, apparently, Shane Black is working on another movie called Play Dirty.
Well, I will say this: he certainly has been taking his time since it's now been near a decade since The Predator.
It's going to be made by Amazon and GM, and they started filming last year.
I guess Shane Black came out of hiding. Like, I mean, yeah, if he's back, that's fine. But like, apparently, I'm guessing The Predator must have made him blacklisted because he never announced or really worked on anything for all that time.
Considering what he tried to sneak into the movie.
Ugh, yeah, you were saying to you?
Let's actually give the Leviathan souls to the smuggler.
Well, thank you kindly, friend.
So, what do your buyers do with these souls?
I'm not sure I want to know.
Again, that's maybe something that they could keep client confidentiality.
For the sake of everyone's sanity.
Yeah.
Alright, we still need to actually get properly inside the Apogee station, but the good news is that that's what we're trying to do now, because now we're just, taking a stroll on the outskirts.
Well, you know something's... you know security is tight when the smuggler can only get us as far as here.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's another idea of creating a set piece, properly. Instead, you're just building up to that. It reminds me a bit of the Legend of Spyro games, where their level design always built up to, progressing towards an encounter. Some stuff, not a lot, unfortunately, but some stuff of the Crash Titan duology also attempted to do that. With various degrees of success.
Yeah. Yes, game. I did play Sonic Adventure 2. That was cute.
Which specific level, I wonder?
Crazy Gadgets.
Okay. Yeah, fuck.
Oh! That's dickish. Also, you can definitely tell why they like to give the gravity boots early enough in games so that they can do cool perspective flips like these. Like, technically, we're upside down while this is going on.
Well, yeah, not necessarily upside down, but maybe on the side, it's just all over the place. It's for the sake of, saying, oh, it's cubicle.
Up and down and all around. But yeah, no, this definitely feels like a throwback to Crazy Gadget where you have to use spring pads and land your jumps just right with the changing gravity. Hence the puzzle platforming. Now one has to wonder, is this way just for anyone who needs to do maintenance?
Well, no, as the smuggler said, the owner of the station, Max Apogee, is apparently nowhere to be found. And is supposedly abandoned, but if Tachyon wants something out of this, we might as well give it a look ourselves. This is just the back entrance, basically.
Yeah. But it being the back entrance, that's why I asked. So is this the entrance for like, people who needed to do maintenance? With how it's regularly supposed to be used? Like, granted, look, at the end of the day, it's always clear to make a fun level, but it's always funny to think about places like these, or the many levels in the Ark and Sonic Adventure 2 on how these pathways were used practically by scientists and workers.
Oh yeah!
That's basically just to actually, have a more organic way of, inputting them.
Isn't that more so because Dead Space is more of a survival horror one as opposed to a platformer?
But in terms of level design, it tries
Whoa,
to
check out
make the
that
ambient
terrarium.
organic enough, you know,
Seems whoever constructed the
makes it
station
logical
wanted an
for
oasis, as well as
you
a
know,
fortress.
things and objects to be in place.
Attention intruder!
That is fair. Although I do think you raised a good point in Sonic Adventure 2 that most of the rails we grind on were probably originally dual rails that are used to carry around carts like that one that Eggman uses in Cosmic Wall. So, an abandoned space station. Be careful if you run into Samus. I hear she's dealing with Mother Brain for the nth time. Something about a bottle ship and a baby.
No, we're not talking about the baby.
What year did this game come out?
2007 or 8, I forgot. Not 2008, I think.
I'll check it real quick because I'm trying to remember what Metroid game came out around that time.
Oh,
Pretty sure that was Other
Prime
M.
3, I think.
Oh, in 2007, probably Prime 3. I think Other M was 2008.
Other M was 2010.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
Because that year wasn't packed with enough merriment.
Intruder alert! Intruder! Am I doing it right?
You'll have to remind me what else you're referring to.
Darn fool!
Well, the crappy Last Airbender movie, Command and Conquer 4. Take your pick.
Anyway,
yeah.
I have a new weapon in the meantime. I forgot actually how it's called, but what it does is it shoots shards that attach themselves to the enemies and then explode.
Useful.
Attention, young whippersnapper! This is Chief
The Shard Reaper, there you
We
go.
are activating the thermo-splitter defenses. Desist all youthful activities and return from whence you
God damn
came.
it.
So it seems there's an admiral still aboard here, unless these are just recordings from his audio
Well, two
logs.
actually. One of them is posed by Paul Hiding. I forgot which VA is the other. When they properly show up, I'll try to look it up.
I'm surprised he took this long for Paul Hiding to show up in a Ratchet and Clank game.
He's breaking into the aqueduct. Release that.
Basically, their entire shtick, as you'll be able to hear, is that they're too old for this shit. As in, they make all the retired, jokes you can think of.
Damn it all, he's swimming in our fishing hole. He's probably hopped up on that rap music.
Rap music is a great motivator.
Basically, I was looking up where exactly I was supposed to go actually from here. Yeah, I might as well actually mention that the first time I played this game was, I think, in 2010, roughly, when I got a physical copy. But then I either lost it or gave it away. I don't remember the details. So I basically had to get a new one for this. I know that the game is also the entire PS3 era of games, including the remasters technically, are available for the streaming program for the PlayStation Network store. But I give it a try and it's serviceable enough. But for these games where they demand a bit more in terms of frame rate, it's probably best if you stick around with a physical copy on a PS3. I know that that on emulation instead this runs a bit better and uncapped, but my PC is not powerful enough yet to actually give it a try.
Yeah, I get you. Back with my laptops. Even though PS2 was technically one of the weaker consoles, it was always one of the hardest emulators for me to run on my older laptop. I probably could run it just fine on this newer gaming laptop.
Well, this is a PS3 game, but the emulator of that is notoriously a bit more of a bitch to deal with, as we talked about in Resistance.
Arguably more than the PS4 one, ironically. It's funny how that works. Upgrade, nice.
You do get a
How
bit
about-
more of a couple more data on what you actually get with each upgrade for the weapons.
I do tend to like how the upgrades kind of come automatically. I get why some people might not like that in case they want to try and do a low damage run or whatnot, but I feel that's probably just easily solved with like a toggle or something.
There you go.
Ratchet, perhaps we
Another
should
thing that I
reason
would
with
mention
them.
is that
Sure.
the movement
Promise
when
to
it
give you
comes
the
to the
Nundac
super
secret?
jumps
I promise not to
is a
blow
bit
'em
more
up.
awkward. You might have noticed already because I performed it a couple more times. The long jump is fine for the most part. It's still not doesn't go the extra distance as I probably would have wanted, but it's still fine overall. But the high jump feels a bit more awkward. Instead of actually giving you actual proper momentum, like in the PS2
Laser
games,
grids.
as you noticed, Ratchet instead gets almost like, it gets pulled up almost as if the narrator's hand from SpongeBob picks him up by the back of the neck. Like a puppet on a string. It's just weird looking and sometimes a bit imprecise. Oh, in case you're wondering, I don't remember if I actually do it, but also the turrets can be affected by the Groovitron.
Huh.
Alright, Chief. What can we do you for? Done and done.
Beautiful.
Bye.
We've got the little rascal right where we want him. Chief Admiral Clank, at my signal, unleash heck! Now?
Unleash heck. Sure.
Remember, Dweebs, it's a kid's game. We can't say hell. Yeah, you know, that's the funny thing. Despite the fact that one could argue stuff was edgier back in the day, it's in the 2020s now where, ironically, people are more okay with kids-oriented stuff saying stuff like hell or even damn.
Yeah, but in our kids' shows, we had characters getting murdered.
Yeah, again, it's mostly an American thing as we analyzed previously, because most of European countries don't really have a problem with the whole having to say kill or hell. You know,
Or otherwise severely maimed and traumatized.
Ironically,
Yes, I'm aware of stressed Eric.
I can tell that for my country, well, the direct translation instead for the word jerk might have been something that, you know, would have not been used that much. But so, in terms of, you know, dissonance, in terms of how much of an impact, you know, a condemnation, swear word and everything might be, there is technically that. But that's the only major case I can think of.
Which is funny because, you know, in the time when they were trying to be, you know, more okay with kids, well, you know, yeah, in a sense, sometimes it really just come down to this is a swear or bad to say in this country, but not a swear and bad to say in another country. For example, in long-running Transformers media, typically the name of the Triceratops Dinobot is Slag, from all the way to Gen 1 and even Transformers Animated, where Slag was usually the kid-friendly curse word they used, which ironically made it one of the kids' shows most censored in the UK.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, because, okay, for those who don't know, slag around here in the UK is a term you use to, well, shame a woman.
There's no way we're getting through this without at least 2 crates of pyrocytic nitro cells.
It's time for the Zoom to give Clank a new tool.
Clank? Clank?
Laser arm.
Clank,
Also,
why do you go where I can't follow?
with a geo laser that is clearly a reference to the Pikosaru laser detector from
Ratchet. I don't really know what's happening, but I see these weird flying mouse-looking things everywhere.
Okay, we're changing your battery source. It's clearly made you high.
That
more
would
like
probably
insects,
be
yeah.
for the best, Ratchet.
This is clearly just a, you know, the excuse for you to have another, you know, gimmicky set piece for a very minor, you know, puzzle solving, but
Who
that's
did you
it.
say gave you this thing?
The Sony. They are little invisible creatures who travel through time.
Oh, right.
There's the scoundrel!
Like we'll ever have to deal with time travel.
Here we are.
That's it. You've seen a lot of weird
Zephyr.
shit. Is time travel really that foreign of a concept to you?
Thanks, guys.
And also, their associate, Tolwyn Apogee, meet potential
You win
woman.
an all-expense
I know,
Patriot
it's a bit complicated, but I'll explain after the cutscene. For now, she's with
Better
Tara Strong.
decompressing in space.
Yeah, put that Lombax in his place.
What?
You needed a second look
He
to
is
realize that he's a
Lombax.
Lombax.
Frog, Zephyr, lower your weapons.
And
So the old guy
our heroes
robots, but
explain
the
mysterious
relatively young-looking
circumstances
girl,
which brought them to
so to
Tolwyn
speak.
Apogee's secluded space station. Their quest for the elusive Lombax secret. A cipher wrapped in an enigma, smothered in super secret sauce.
That's enough, Zephyr.
Oh, sorry.
So you're a Lombax who's never seen another Lombax, doesn't know where
Kinda
they
did,
are or
but
what their
we're
secret
pretending,
is.
I guess.
That's so...
I know, right?
I take it he's the smart one.
Miss Apogee, is there any reason why Tachyon would think you have a Lombax weapon?
Well, this is my father's base.
Yeah.
There you go.
Max
Tolwyn is
Apogee?
actually the daughter of Max Apogee.
Max
That's why she's still in
Apogee
charge.
was a famous,
Is a famous.
is a famous explorer and collector of rare interstellar antiquities, most notable of which was a Lombax artifact.
Where is the artifact now?
Pirates raided the station years ago. This is the only thing they took. My father went after them, but never came back.
Let me guess, another potential Ratchet love interest?
Kinda, sorta.
Punk,
It's a
Zephyr,
bit
get the ship
complicated,
ready.
but I have to mention, probably in the next
Back up
part
on
of
your
the
way out, okay?
gameplay section as well. For the time being, what you need to do is that, you need to help Tolwyn by getting to Ardolis in order to, go against the pirates, the space pirates.
Whether or not she turns out to be a love interest, ever notice how, kind of after Angela, a lot of the, shall we say, main female characters tend to get a lot more, humanoid in a sense?
Well, she has more of a rat appearance, the ears and the tail. Clearly, they
Oh,
wanted to
weird.
create more of a counterpart from Ratchet from a different species. Their species does have a name, but I forgot exactly what it is. Alright, doing for the next part where we reach Ardolis and we need to steal from pirates. See ya.
See you then.
Ta-da!